Hey, Celtics Nation! We're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Boston Celtics. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll always stay up to date and never miss out on any exclusive news. Rumors are swirling in the NBA community right now, and if what we're hearing is even partially true, it could shake up the perception of the 2024 to 2025 Boston Celtics championship run. According to some reports and whispers coming from close to the players' camp, XAVIER Tillman may be experiencing something no player on a title-winning roster ever wants to admit. Regret. Yes, you heard that right. There's talk that Tillman, despite lifting the Larry O'Brien trophy just weeks ago, might be feeling like his move to Boston wasn't everything it promised to be. Now, this isn't about drama or locker room conflict, at least not on the surface. It's deeper. It's emotional. It's the kind of disillusionment that comes when the role you thought you'd play ends up being a shadow of what you envisioned. Imagine being traded mid-season with high hopes, thinking you're going to be a key piece, only to find yourself marginalized in the rotation, watching the action more from the bench than from the hardwood. That's what some sources suggest Tillman has been grappling with, and honestly, it raises a big question. Can a player win a ring and still feel like he lost something personal in the process? Let's take a step back and really unpack what might be behind this alleged regret. From XAVIER Tillman. When the trade happened, Boston acquiring Tillman from Memphis, it wasn't just about adding another big body for the playoff grind. It was seen as a sneaky good move, a depth-enhancing chess piece by Brad Stevens. And Celtics fans were buzzing. Tillman, known for his defensive toughness, high basketball IQ, and playoff experience with the Grizzlies, seemed like a perfect complement to the Jays and Kristaps Porzingis. But sometimes, what looks perfect on paper doesn't translate on the court. From the jump, it seemed like Joe Mazzulla had a pretty set rotation. And while Tillman got some minutes here and there, especially when KP was out, he never quite carved out a steady role. Instead of flourishing in a new system, he spent long stretches riding the bench. And as the postseason intensified, his playing time shrank even more. You've got to wonder if that's what's eating at him, coming into a winning culture, but not feeling like a contributor when it mattered most. It's the classic right team, wrong time scenario, and for a competitor like Tillman, that might sting more than anyone realized. What's especially interesting is how this regret, if real, might reflect something deeper about player psychology. In the modern NBA, fans often think rings are the ultimate goal, and for many players, they are. But rings without responsibility, that's a different story. If Tillman felt like a passenger during Boston's championship cruise, that changes the whole narrative. It's easy to look at the stat sheets, the celebrations, the parade, and think, how could he possibly be unhappy? But basketball, like life, is about purpose. It's about feeling needed, feeling like your contribution mattered. Some players chase legacy, others chase respect, and then there are those like Tillman, who seem to crave impact. So when you find yourself in a situation where you're technically successful, but internally unsatisfied, that's where regret can creep in, especially when you're young, hungry, and looking to prove yourself every night. Boston gave him a ring, but maybe it didn't give him fulfillment. Maybe, just maybe, the trade-off wasn't worth it. That's a possibility more and more insiders are starting to whisper about, and it's sparking some real questions about how this offseason could unfold for the Celtics. FRONTCOURT. It's important to say this. No one from Tillman's camp has gone on the record saying any of this. There's no explosive interview, no fiery social media post, no trade request, at least not yet. But in today's NBA, rumors move fast, and emotions even faster. And multiple insiders close to this situation have hinted that Tillman hasn't exactly been all smiles behind the scenes. In fact, one source mentioned that during team exit interviews, he voiced some frustrations, not in a toxic way, but in a real, human way. That he expected more involvement, that he envisioned more than spot minutes and garbage time. And that after working hard in Memphis to earn respect and consistent floor time, landing in Boston felt like a step backward, not forward. The irony, of course, is that it happened while moving to a title contender, but that's the cruel twist of pro sports. Success can feel hollow if you're not part of the engine making it happen. And that might explain why there's chatter about Tillman possibly looking at free agency differently this summer, eyeing a place where he can be more than a backup plan. Let's not forget that Tillman isn't some fringe player clinging to a roster spot. This is a guy who started playoff games in Memphis, Who battled Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic in tough series? Who was known for doing the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet but win basketball games? In Boston, he was asked to do a lot less, and that's not always easy to swallow, especially when you've been a key guy before. Imagine going from heavy playoff minutes to watching the finals. From the sideline, from being trusted in crunch time to barely checking in unless the game was already decided. That's a mental adjustment few players are truly prepared for. And it's no surprise that regret might creep in. It's not about ego, it's about identity. Players like Tillman pride themselves on grit and accountability, and when those qualities don't get a chance to shine, it can leave a bitter taste even if there's champagne in the locker room. It's a classic case of winning the war but losing a piece of yourself in the battle. And that's what makes this situation so fascinating to watch develop. Now, the Celtics organization would probably push back on this narrative, arguing that depth is what wins championships and Tillman played his role perfectly, and in a sense, they wouldn't be wrong. Boston built a powerhouse team precisely because of guys like Tillman, plug-and-play veterans who could step in when needed, hold the line defensively, and not demand touches or headlines. From a front office perspective, he was a win. From a coaching standpoint, a reliable insurance policy, but from the player's perspective, that's where things get murky. Players don't train all summer and battle through 80 games to be a Plan C. They want to matter. They want to feel like they're part of the heartbeat. And while Boston may see Tillman as a championship piece, he might see himself as a forgotten piece, valuable but underused. It's this quiet tension that can simmer over the summer and eventually lead to tough decisions. Whether it's a request for a trade, a decision not to re-sign, or just private disappointment that never fully heals, these are the invisible fractures that can affect team chemistry in the long run. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. And this raises another interesting angle. How does Tillman's mindset influence Boston's off-season planning? If the front office senses any discontent, do they look to move him proactively? Do they try to convince him to stay by promising a bigger role? Or do they simply let the situation play out, hoping that a summer of reflection helps him recalibrate his expectations? Because let's be honest, the Celtics have a loaded front court between Porzingis, Horford, and even Luke Kornet. Taking specific matchups, there aren't a ton of extra minutes floating around. And with Horford not showing any signs of retiring, and KP still very much in the mix, Tillman might be looking at another year of spot duty if he sticks around. That's a tough pill to swallow for a 26-year-old still entering his prime. He's not a rookie. He's not washed. He's in that middle ground where the wrong role can stall momentum. And if this regret turns into a desire for change, it could reshape how the Celtics approach their bench depth, rotations, and even their trade assets moving forward. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.